I'm Tristan, and this is Thinking About Politics. So today, I'm thinking about the FBI raid on the former president's home in Mar-a-Lago in Florida. As most people have probably heard right now, the defeated former president's home has been raided by the FBI, searching for top secret and compartmentalized information, some of the most top secret of top secret documents, and they found them at Trump's residence. It was already known that Trump had mishandled classified documents and stolen government documents on his way out of the White House. What was not known is that he continued to retain some of this information. What appears to have prompted the raid is an inquiry into potential Espionage Act violations, and it's an action that is not without significant risk. Let's face it, even before the FBI did this, everybody knew that such an action was probably going to provoke a violent response. And it has. Violent rhetoric has exploded online to an extent not seen since just before January 6th, when Trump supporters attacked the United States. While alarming, it's not surprising that someone like Trump, with his background of unearned privilege, would not view the concept of public trust with much regard. What is surprising and alarming is to see so many of my fellow citizens rush to attack the FBI and to threaten the lives of FBI agents who are about the business of executing a valid search warrant. Trump supporters are threatening public officials who are about public business and enforcing the public law. And Trump apologists have been loudly running around trying to proclaim, at times very contradictory excuses as to why this isn't a big deal or why Trump didn't do anything wrong. Like, maybe Obama took millions of documents too. He didn't. Maybe Donald Trump declassified all of these. Nope, he didn't do that. Maybe the FBI planted the evidence. Nope. Perhaps Joe Biden ordered the raid for political reasons. Not very likely. Well, it doesn't matter. All these documents were Trump's anyways. Well, then why were you coming up with all these excuses? And look, it's ridiculous. All we really know right now is that there were classified documents in Trump's personal possession that should have been in a more secure location. We know that the FBI recovered these documents while investigating potential violations of the Espionage Act and several other laws. And we know that Trump keeps lying. Like, he said he wanted to make the warrant public, but he didn't do it himself. He could have. There was nothing stopping him. Now Trump is complaining that there's footage of FBI agents ransacking his house. Well, I bet you he's not going to produce that either. It's kind of like his tax return. Remember how Trump always said he was going to release his tax return after his audit was done?
I will absolutely give my return, but I'm being audited now for 2 or 3 years, so I can't do it until the audit is finished, obviously, and I think people would understand that.
One eternity later.
Why don't release your tax return or stop talking about corruption?
President Trump, your response.
First of all, I called my accountants under audit. I'm going to release them as soon as we can. I want to do it.
He never released that tax return. Surprise, surprise. Given these facts, these threats of violence are exposed for exactly what they are. An attempt to subvert justice. An attempt to allow Trump and his Republican allies to avoid all accountability for any potential violations of law. And Trump and his Republicans know exactly what they are doing. Anybody who studies history, understands how republics work, and how they die, knows exactly what Donald Trump is doing. See, folks, historically, republics die from within if they're not conquered or beaten outright. Republics fail when individuals or individual groups become more powerful than the public institutions that gave them power in the first place. When law can no longer police the actions of the rich and the politically connected, republics die. And the final nail in the coffin comes when citizens abandon reason and virtue, when they run away from hard truths to find comfort in the lies of a would-be dictator, and when the rest of us give up and just succumb to threats of bullying. In many ways, a democratic republic is very hard on the common person. It makes demands on you individually and on your character. And at times these demands can be unfair, especially when all you want to do is be left well enough alone and manage your own life and worry about your own affairs in private. And this reticence to take action can even be understandable, especially when people have a lot to lose. And when People are threatening violence if you even try to enforce the law even-handedly. So we've got to be clear-eyed here. We got to understand that moving forward with any prosecution of Donald Trump or his supporters, any attempt to bring them to account for any potential violations of law, will be met with violent rhetoric by a large number of his supporters, and some number of them will actually commit violence. Right-wing violence is a reality in the American political system now. But this is no reason to be deterred. For those who are afraid that investigating the former president will bring violence, I understand. I'm afraid of that too. But I'm also afraid that failure to vigorously investigate potential violations of crimes just because there's a politician connected will end our American experiment. And if we cannot engage in a fair investigation, even of a former president, then that experiment's already done. We have already ceased to be what John Adams called a nation of law, not of men. The result is to be hurled backwards into the dark ages of superstition and rule by the most cruel. And this outcome, at least for me, is unacceptable. American citizens must brave the consequences of holding a former president to account if he violated the law. We have to do that no matter the consequences, and we can't be deterred by threats of violence. Anyway, that's it for me. You've been great. Hope to see you again next time. But until then,
I ain't got
keep
time to
thinking.
kiss you now. I'm busy with this mule.